Thank you very much for joining today's session. Happy Hanuman Jayanti to all of you. Before we start, we will start with a prayer, and I'll request Jyoti ji to do the starting prayers.
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
So we are, now in our 11th, or rather, this is our penultimate session before our grand finale. So we have had some amazing sessions, and we have all our amazing speakers to thank for this. And we have two more left. Next week we will have Swami Ishwarananda ji, and then our grand finale on the 7th of May. So thanks for everyone that has been joining these sessions. It has been a great experience for all the teachers across the various centers of Chinmaya Mission, and also special thanks to all the presenters as well. We do have this going live on YouTube as well. If somebody is not able to join on Zoom, this is the link for YouTube, which should be available through WhatsApp groups as well as through email. If you have any questions, please, I have put this link on the chat as well. Please use this to ask any questions, and we will take questions at the end of the session. So today's topic is, sadhana for a Bala Vihar teacher. As much as we all, a lot of us Bala Vihar volunteers and teachers spend a lot of time with we give our time and our knowledge to the mission and to the children coming to Chinmaya Mission. What it is, it's also a sadhana for us. It is something that makes us a better human being, better person. And today we have Jyoti ji, Brahmacharini Jyoti ji, to talk about what it is to be a Bala Vihar teacher, and why it is a sadhana for us. Quickly to introduce Brahmacharini Jyoti ji. Jyoti ji completed the 2-year residential Vedanta course in Sandipani Sadhana Mumbai under Swami Bodhatmananda ji. Mukhya Swami Swarupananda ji, in the presence of Guruji Swami Tejomayananda ji, bestowed her Diksha on October 2nd, 2019. She currently is serving Chinmaya Mission, Atlanta. Born on Diwali Day in 1985, a natural yearning for spirituality was present from a very young age. Having been involved in Bal Vikas programs and Seva activities at local Sai Center, while simultaneously being a studious pupil at school, this culminated in the desire to combine both secular and spiritual pursuits through the practice of medical science with the inner purpose of service to humanity and dedication to the higher. After achievement of a national scholarship in 2004, Jyoti ji pursued a career in medicine and received the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery in 2009. While pursuing postgraduate study and working in the Department of General Pediatrics and Neonatology for 4 years, her aim to specialize in pediatrics was curbed by a growing interest to delve into spiritual knowledge. It became apparent that a career based primarily in saving bodies that could not saving bodies could not do justice to the real disease which every patient of life faced, the disease of the mind. If there was a spiritual science that could master this plague, these good sense dictated the efforts be redirected into this pursuit. Consequently, attending Chinmaya Mission study groups and Chik classes, and an ardent study of Gurudev's online videos and other materials of various swamis began to take precedence over science, and Jyotiji decided to pursue Vedanta as a path. And under the tutelage of Swami Bodhatmananda ji, she completed uh, the the course in Sandipani Sadhanalaya, and she has been like I mentioned before, working. She is now in Atlanta. Before this, she was in Trinidad and Tobago. With that introduction, I will hand this over to Jyoti ji to take this over. Over to you, Jyoti ji.
Hari Om, everyone. Thank you, Ram Uncle, for that nice introduction. Happy Hanuman Jayanti to everyone. So our topic today, Sadhana for a Bala Vihar teacher. Very appropriate day for that, Hanuman Jayanti, as Hanumanji represents that monkey mind that transcended to mastermind. So this is the idea of what sadhana is supposed to do for us. So very appropriate date for this topic also. Let's begin first by invoking the grace of the Gurus, and then we'll see our topic for today. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Samasta-jana-kalyani Niratam karunamayam Namami chinmayam devam Sadgurum Brahmavidharam Sadgurum Brahmavidharam. In this electronic age of science and technology, our Bal Vihars seem to be filled with Gen Z and Alpha generational youths whose perspective on ideals like faith and God seem to be shifting from the paradigms that we grew up with. Our idea of these concepts were based in statements like, through faith all things are possible. But their mindset seems to be becoming skewed towards more of a predisposition reflected in statements like, faith is for the weak, or prove it to me first, and then I'll believe you. Have we come across this with our Bal Vihars yet? If you haven't, you're teaching the sweet little ones for now. Faith is inborn in them. But as we grow towards middle school, and especially definitely our high school students, more and more with this generation than ever before, we are seeing a generation in which science is God for them, and God is questionable. And so this is the generation that we need to be able to address. These sessions are not for the easy things that we know you can do. It's to help with the little more tricky parts of it. So this is where our focus will be today. But whilst we might be facing such a paradigm shift in our new generation, I want us to recall one famous individual from the not so recent past whose mindset was also reflected reflective of such statements as our present youth. A certain famous individual who once said, "Religion is the opium of the masses," and suggesting that our spiritualists were the spiritual drug peddlers, so to speak. He said, "I'm going to catch and expose those drug peddlers." Who made this statement? How many of you know? Raise your hands. We all know, right?
Marx.
Our own Puja Gurudev himself
Oh,
made this statement. I didn't hear what someone answered, but I didn't hear what they said.
I said Marx. He had made statement that religion is the opium of the mass.
Our Puja Gurudev also has made this statement. And so, this is the first paramount take home that I want us to etch into our minds from the onset today. That a lack of faith, as it would appear to us, may not necessarily be a demonstration of our children's diversion away from religion, but it may actually be a silent plea for guidance toward it, as was the case with our Puja Gurudev. It's not that he didn't believe. We all know the stories of him playing with Bhagwan Shiva in his mind when he was a boy in his puja room. It's not that he didn't have faith, but it's just like this generation. It's as though they're saying, "Show me. I want to believe, I just can't connect." And so, it is our job to detect that plea amongst their play. And then just like our Puja Gurudev, with the meticulous hands of a wise guru, to mold that brilliantly malleable mind by which he was shown a vision divine beyond all of the erroneous notions that he previously harbored. We must be those Swami Shivanandajis to metamorphosize the minds of these young fiery Balans in our midst. And so, I want us to understand the magnitude of the task which we are charged with as Bala Vihar teachers. But I also want us to understand that we are in the perfect organization to induce such transformation because our own foundation, our own Gurudev was one of these youths. And so who better to teach us how to transform such minds? So, how do we even begin to remodel the minds of another young, impressionable human being? When I use the word impressionable, we may say, "Jyotiji, these high schoolers, they're beyond us." But I want to tell you from my own personal experience, do not be fooled by the apparent maturity of our precocious high schoolers. Their minds are highly impressionable, just like our young ones. If you know how to connect, really connect with them, they will consume everything you feed to them, just like our little ones, and etch it into their ethos. But the difference with them, as opposed to the little ones, is your words need to possess a power in order to induce that potent effect on them, as opposed to the little ones. This was the power that Swami Shivanandaji held over Gurudev. The inherent truth of his words weighted his words so much that Gurudev was drawn to him, unlike any of the other spiritual drug peddlers that Gurudev had been exposed to before that. And so our question is, how can we gain that kind of power and potency in our words so that it can transform the minds of our young ones? And the answer to that is, our words gain power through Sadhana. And this is where our topic for today's satsang makes its entry. Sadhana for a Bala Vihar teacher. The potency to effect change in the mind of our children has astronomically less to do with all of the areas in which we tend to pour all of our efforts in Bala Vihar, which is what? Research the topics, come up with good games, nice stories, good activities to engage their interest, innovative teaching techniques, all of this intelligence and excitement and tricks and all of these things, all of it put together will amount to no more than 50% potency in your Bala Vihar class. And all of it, once again, can aggregate up to 90% if one small change, one small adjustment is brought in. What is that? It's not about the exercise. It's not about the execution. It's about the executor. It's about you. It's not about your intelligence or preparedness, although those are essential. It's about something much subtler, which is linked to sadhana. If you are genuinely strong in your spirituality, you will breed spiritual strength in them. They will not be able to resist following what you say. That was how our Gurudev was. If you are adaptable in your approach to them, watch how they will adapt. They will willingly mold to you. And if you are sincere, even if you feel like these high schoolers might be brighter than me, how am I going to teach them? But even if we are just sincere in the work that we put out, you see how they will tap into that sincerity and their output will grow to match yours. Why? Because there's a subtle law at play in these transactions. And we've all seen it. There's the older amma or uncle who may come to assist us in class one day. And they may be explaining something to the kids. And we're younger, we're thinking, but I have a better grasp of that. But yet those kids gravitate so much to this amma or uncle. And you wonder, how? I'm so much more fluent in the way I explain. They have sadhana balam, which you don't have. There are subtle laws at play in this whole thing. And so we have to reflect that if we want to see it in them. You be the change you wish to see and see the world change around you. What is the immense implication of what I have just described? It is that what is implied here is that only when you are able to mold your own mind successfully, only then will you be karmically granted that power to mold theirs. And so if their minds are not molding, we better watch our minds. And if their minds are molding, congratulations. Because the universe has picked up on the sincerity in your efforts and it is manifesting it back to you through them. They will tune to you choicelessly and you'll see it. See, do as I say and not as I do will not work here. Because somehow the universe knows the purity of our words. And those kids pick up on it. They know, they feel it. So, this is the beautiful part of our teaching today. That this entire physical creation that meets the eye, warped and weaved in and through it, is a much subtler ethereal fabric which does not meet the eye. And this is the sphere in which the subtle laws of things like cause and effect, The karmic laws lie there. Because foundational to this physical realm of space and time is the primordial realm of causation. And this our Shastra teaches us. There's so much more to this world than meets the eye. And this is where sadhana becomes pertinent. And if you don't believe me, there's simple evidence to even show the subtlety that is there, that subtle realm that exists. I want to draw your attention to one thing. I'm going to use logic. And this is the type of logic we have to use, especially with our high schoolers, because they're all scientifically minded. Like myself, I prided myself on saying that a decade ago also. So here's how you prove things to them. Till now, the brilliance of modern science, with all of its neuroscientific technology and advanced equipment, still cannot explain a thought. Yes or no? You hook up an electroencephalogram to your brain, it will tell you you are thinking. But there is no piece of equipment in the vast domain of science which can tell you what you are thinking. The exact image in your mind's eye, the particular nuance of the emotion that it draws from your heart or your memory, it cannot tell you. But yet, we all know that we are experiencing that emotion. We all know that we are seeing that image in our mind's neural network, right? Undeniable, but yet unprovable within the arena of science. And so, it is inconsequential as to whether science can prove it or not. We are the evidence. We know it exists. And so you tell your high schoolers, if you are waiting for science to prove everything to you, science cannot even prove the intelligence of the thoughts within your mind. So if you wait for science as your proof, then you cannot even validate your own intelligent existence. In this way, we have to use these. Science is very nice, but it should never be the be-all and end-all. Our spiritual science must engender that feeling of magnanimity in our spiritual sciences in their minds. And so, this subtler realm of existence, of emotions and thoughts, does exist. It's a subtler realm in which all beings are connected. Sutre Maniganaiva. And we cannot deny it because we all experience it every day. This subtle fabric which underlies the entire gross creation is that place where the laws of karma act. It is that place where the effectiveness of things like the power of positive thinking is hidden. It is where things like controversial concepts, the intuition of the saints, siddhis, all of these things, where are they kept? They are certainly not in the physical realm around us, right? We can't see or tangibly touch these things. But this is where our Shastra speaks of sthula, sukshma, karana. Gross, subtle, causal. That there's a three-tiered structure to everything that we are actually perceiving and experiencing here. That behind this gross world, there's an entire universe of subtle and causal fueling it beyond our perception. And it is here that the power of prayer lies. It is here that the potency of our sadhana manifests forth. And so that is the repository wherein our spiritual practices accrue their potentiality. And so every day as we diligently perform our spiritual sadhanas, our spiritual practices, we are as though charging up that subtle inner battery. And so the stronger our sadhana, the more of the grid that battery can power. Means the more people we can reach, the more our sadhana-laden words are able to effect a change in the minds of those around us, including our Bala Vihar kids. This was the sadhana shakti that we saw in our Puja Gurudev, which lit up the grid of the whole world. His sadhana balam is what we still see today manifesting in the way he touched from our senior devotees all the way down to these little lamps of our Bal Vihars. Their light is shining because of his sadhana shakti that he powered up since then. We have witnessed for ourselves the raw power of sadhana balam through our Puja Gurudev and his mission. As warriors of dharma, as his warriors of dharma, can we emulate it to continue what he started? We must be worthy of taking up his work. Our Seva Tichinmay mission is no favor to the organization. I think we're all on the same page with respect to this one, though, that it is a privilege to be a piece of that puzzle, to be that little squirrel who helped build that bridge, to help strengthen the foundation of the multiple bridges that he built. We all know which squirrel I'm referring to, right? Sri Ramachartamanas. That little one that helped Sri Rama build his bridge. That's us. But this type of feeling, these affirmations are what engender in our hearts the inspiration to want to make ourselves worthy of upholding his vision. And so today we have to ask ourselves, how do we make ourselves worthy? Worthy of being called children of our dynamic and daring Puja Gurudev. How do we do it? Sadhana is strength. Never underestimate the power that diligently executed sadhana can imbue us with. I want to share with you all a story. It's a story that one of my chicks actually told me, one of my youths. A true story. She said that she had been to one of our youth camps with one of our Swamijis, I won't say who, one of our Swamijis who was known to host massively successful youth camps. And she said that she approached that Swamiji one day. They were all having lunch together. And she said, Swamiji had this green drink in his hand. She said, Swamiji, what are you drinking? You're supposed to be eating lunch with us. Is that all you're going to have? Swamiji said, yes, this is it. She said, how can you fast? We have so many activities. You're doing so much things with us and you're fasting. How can you do that? You know what that Swamiji told her? He said, this is my sacrifice for the success of this camp. I don't think she even realized what he was revealing to her in that moment. This is sadhana shakti. What is sadhana? It is a discipline that we put on ourselves. And through that discipline, we build such strength that we see things fructify out of that. Food. That Swamiji was fasting for that whole camp. Food is the greatest bhoga we will ever have in life. You may say, no, Jyotiji, I've been to 2 5-star hotels in my life. You will do that once or twice in your whole life. But food is every single day sukham. Every time you sit in front of that plate of hot food, no matter how bad your day was, at least you enjoy that moment. And so that is punya, fructifying every single day of our life. You fast for a 2-week camp and just drink some green liquid. The amount of strength that takes. See, we are all born with prarabdha. Our karmic bank account has certain amount of punya, certain amount of papam. And if that punya is meant to fructify, and we are not eating and enjoying our bhoga and enjoying that sukham, that punya is not getting to fructify. Where is it going to go? It has to fructify. Bhagavan is karma paladata, of course. He will decide. But if we are pure in our intentions, we can say, Bhagavan, I'm going to do this discipline, this sadhana. I'm going to fast. The punya that was supposed to come in my sukham of eating and enjoying food, you please redirect that punya to the success of your camp, Bhagavan. Let these youths successfully have a spiritual experience. His sadhana fructified an extremely successful camp that year. This is the power of tapobalam, sadhana shakti. And our Swamijis are living examples of these things. Why? Because our Puja Gurudev lived that. If we take up disciplines and sadhanas and we are genuine, we can ask Bhagavan, please redirect the punya that I am giving up through these sacrifices. And let your work be successful with my children. How do you think our Puja Gurudev not just touched but transformed so many lives? The persuasiveness of his words. Husband or wife would tell each other, please do this, please change. Nothing would change. They would go in front of Gurudev, he would say, change that immediately. Quit coffee. Immediately, some change. Why? The persuasiveness of his words was directly proportional to the authoritativeness of his character. A booming spirit which reflected the intensity of his sadhana. That was the strength of his words. And so when he said it, it got done. Because there was a truth in his words on the strength of his sadhana. So as Bala Vihar teachers, we don't aim to transform the whole world like he did, but at least for our little group of children. At least some amsha of that same sadhana samarthya must translate into our practice. So this topic that was designated today, sadhana, for a Bala Vihar teacher, it was not for me to provide you with a list of spiritual practices. Do these sadhanas, get up in the morning and meditate, do your japa. It was not meant. You all know that. And you all know how to do that. Today's satsang is about revealing something much deeper. You all know how to do sadhana. But do we stick to our sadhana? Today's satsang is to inspire you as to why to stick to your sadhana. That's what you need. You don't need to be told what sadhana to do. You know that. But we need that inspiration to hold it like our Gurudev did. And so what I want to show you today is that sadhana is not just the foundation, but it is the very fabric of everything you have built around you. The entire world is a reflection of the minds of its beings. And so the very substance of our minds are mirrored in every circumstance, person, transaction that we face. And therefore, if our sadhana is strong, it shapes our mind. If our sadhana is weak, it shapes our mind. And what shapes our mind shapes our world, our transactions, and the influence that we are able to have on those around us. You want to increase your influence over the minds of your Bala Vihar kids? Increase your sadhana. Change your mind and you change your world. But the ones who hold influence over the worlds of so many little minds, you change your mind, you change their world. And our Puja Gurudev was the proof of this. Know the potential that you hold. A man is a product of his thoughts. And so our Gurudev used to say, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your Habits. Watch your habits. Some are mouthing it. Very nice. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. Destiny of so many young ones ride on your thoughts. And the texture of your mind, texture of your thoughts can be changed through sadhana. In this way you can change their lives. So, how do we do this? Let's get to a little bit more practical part of our satsang tonight. How do we effect this kind of change? Is there one paramount sadhana that I can give to all of you tonight, by which a one-size-fits-all sadhana, by which we can become the best Bala Vihar teacher ever? Is there? How many of us think? Raise of hands. Of course, we're going to say no. Of course not, Jyotiji. we all have different minds. We have different vasanas. We have different predisposition. We all need different sadhanas. That's why Sanatana Dharma is so varied in its spiritual practices. But let me just ask, how many of you think there could be one gold standard sadhana out there by which we can all be transformed? Anyone? Okay, we have some with some faith. How many say no, Jyotiji? Not possible. More saying no. Okay, everyone has to answer. I feel like I'm in my high school Bala Vihar class. Everyone has to raise their hand for yes or no. How many of us have faith? Yes, Jyoti is going to give us one sadhana that can work magic for all of us. Raise your hands. Great, okay, we got some more. Well, I want to tell you that there is one sadhana that can work for all of us. Guaranteed to work for every single individual, but yet be configured to fit the particular nuances of each of our individual characters. A philosopher's stone that will turn all of us into a gold standard sadhaka. What is it? Who wants to know what it is? Okay, good. If every hand didn't go up, I wasn't going to. Okay, back. From the lips of our Puja Gurudev himself comes this instruction. Alert and vigilant living is sadhana in the truest sense. Alert and vigilant living is sadhana in the truest sense. Now tell me if you cannot all morph that to suit each of your individual lives. What does this statement even mean? Swami Shivananda had said that sadhana is spiritual movement consciously systematized. Consciously systematized means with alertness and vigilance, consciously working out the most effective and efficient sequence to arrive at my goal. A sadhaka must carefully choose the right sadhanas for him. Alertness and vigilance, and then must meticulously navigate those sadhanas so that it will fructify the sadhya, the required goal. And so let me ask you a question. From here it's going to get a bit interactive. How many of you have had a 10-year life plan at any point in your life? I want to go to this college, then I want to do my postgrad here. I think I'll get married around this age. I want to own my own house, rent-free, mortgage-free by this age. How many of us? A 10-year life plan at some point earlier in our lives. Good. So quite a few of us. Now here's my next question. How many of us have a 10-year spiritual life plan? I'm surprised I'm seeing even 2 to 3 hands. Most of us don't even have a 1-month life plan. What is it I want to achieve in my sadhanas by next month, at least? Yes or no? Means we wonder why our spiritual progress is so slow sometimes. See, if we fail to plan out our work, how will we ever work out our plan? What does this mean? No alertness and vigilance, Gurudev said, right? No alertness in recognizing what is it specifically that I need in order to evolve spiritually at this point in my life. How many of us every morning get up, we shower, we do our puja, we do our japam, we chant something, we go to work. And every single morning for the past 5 years, you have been chanting that same thing, doing that same puja, and doing that same number of malas of japam. And same mantra. For 5 years, exactly the same thing. Our devotion should be dynamic. We should get up and be excited. What new can I chant today? What new can I... If that dynamism isn't there, how will we evolve? It means we are not alert to our minds. And is this actually the right thing? This morning, you don't have to stick to that routine of puja. If you wake up one morning and you're feeling so inspired, instead of 20 minutes of puja, you want to sing 20 minutes of bhajans alone to Bhagwan. You sing your heart out. You see how much more inspiration you'll have for that whole day than that puja that you would have done. There should be a dynamism in our sadhanas. But we have to be alert to our minds to see what the universe, what Bhagwan is sending to us. No alertness and no vigilance also in recognizing where am I in my spiritual journey. If we haven't planned out our spiritual journey, how are we going to know where we are in it? And in what direction we need to go next from here. From where? I don't know. I have no clue where I am even right now. How will I know where I'm going to? We have to figure out these things. So, my question to you is, where are you spiritually? What is the sadhya of the sadhaka? What is your goal? Moksha may not be the goal for all of us. But instead we say, moksha is not the goal next lifetime. What's your goal this lifetime? What is the endpoint you're aiming for? Oh, Jyoti ji is as far as I can reach. What does that mean? You need to have a goal. Even in medical school, if you decided you didn't want to be the best doctor in the world, at least you knew, but at least I want to specialize in this thing. Or I don't want to specialize. I want to be a general practitioner, but do I want to work in an organization or private practice? Where is your end point? So then you know how to chart your path forward. Alertness and vigilance. See why our Puja Gurudev said that is the highest sadhana. You know what is the saddest implication of this? If we don't know where we are, how are we going to lead our kids? Where are we taking them? Andhe neva niyamana yathandaha. The blind leading the blind. Even Upanishads, rishis have quoted this. But I'm here to tell you today that we're not blind. Don't worry. We'll say our vision isn't quite 2020, but we're not blind. Yes? The fact that we're all sitting here today and willing to do this on a weekday evening means we are not blind at all. We're seeing the light. But today, I want us to help get a little closer to 2020 vision. Today, I want us to become alert and vigilant of our sadhana. And so, I have a little exercise for us. Are we willing to do an exercise? Yes? Okay. You have to grab some pen and paper. I'm an extremely old-fashioned Brahmacharini, and you won't find anyone more old-fashioned. I like pen and paper, no devices. So it can work if all you have is a device. Go find some pen and paper. There's something fulfilling about writing and seeing. Everyone has their pen and paper? Raise your hand if you have your pen and paper. Okay, good. Most people have already. Okay, 3 questions we're going to see today. Question number 1. You write down the question so you can reflect on it after, in case you're not happy with the answers you gave today. Question number 1. What is the one characteristic you wish you could be more vigilant of? What is the one characteristic you possess that you wish you could be more vigilant, more mindful of? Vigilance means mindfulness. Only when I'm vigilant of my mind will I be able to pick up where I'm falling short. What exactly is happening? That mindfulness will be there. So what is that one characteristic? It can be an emotion. It can be a discipline that I'm not living up to. When you have it, raise your hand so I can see when I can go on to the next one. Oh, people are thinking hard. Good. Can even be something that other people don't even realize I'm struggling with inside. But this is one characteristic I know I need to work on. That one I want you to list. Everyone? How many of us finished? Okay, good, most of us. Question number 2. Now you can't repeat the same answer again, okay? This has to be a different answer. Question number 1 was I'm looking at myself and assessing, being alert and vigilant of my own emotions, character. Question number 2 is looking at yourself through the eyes of your enemy. So here's question number 2. What is the one fault that others have pointed out in you before or can point out in you? It has to be a valid flaw. That if I were to be honest with myself, I would acknowledge, yes, this is validly something I didn't realize I was doing, but they're right. I need to work on this. As you're answering that question, I want to share with you a quote from Kabir Sahib. Swami Prakashanandaji had done Kabir Vani with us once, and I never forgot this quote. It says, Nindak nere rakhiye, aangan kuti chhawaye, bin pani sabun bina nirmal kare suhai. What does it say? Nindak nere rakhiye. Kabir Sahib says, Nindak, the one who criticizes you, you keep him close. What is this question? How do your enemies see you? He says, that one who criticizes you, keep him close. In fact, build a house for him in your courtyard. Keep him that close. Why? He says, bin pani sabun bina nirmal kare suhai. He says, without bin pani, without water, without soap, he will clean up all of your blemishes. Means under his judgmental, watchful eye, you will not slip. Because you know, Ninda, some criticism will come. And so, it means he will induce alertness and vigilance in you by his mere presence. So next time you get criticized, validly criticized though, you thank that person. So question 2, what is that one fault that you didn't realize but others have pointed out? Okay, number 3, last one. Number 1 was me assessing myself. Number 2, how others see me. Number 3 is both ways. Do unto others not what you would not want them to do unto you. So we know that famous phrase, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Have we ever considered the flip side of that? That we should not do what we don't want others to do to us. So question number 3 is, what is that one thing that you do to people that would be most unpleasant if it was done back to you? What is that one thing you do that would be most annoying if someone else did it back to you? For those who are here in husband-wife pairs, you can exchange your paper and let the other person write the answer for that question. Because trust me, they will know what you do to them that they are always annoyed by. I've seen quite a few laughs. I hit the correct point there. What is that one thing you do to others that you won't be able to stand if they do it back to you? Good. Are we done? Those 3 questions? I wanted to ask people to share answers. That would have been really interesting, but we're out of time. So you share your answers with each other. What I need to point out at this point is Why did I bring these three questions? There's a fourth, actually. I'll show you the fourth one after. These four are actually four aspects of our story. They're the four areas of our identity. Part one, there's a part of us that I know that others don't know. What was part one question? What is the characteristic that I know inside I struggle with, I need to work on, even though others may not know it? One part of our character, I know, others don't know. Second part of our character, others know, I don't know. And that's one we need to pay attention to. There are things that we do that we don't realize we're doing. It's important to listen to others and what they're saying sometimes. Part three, there's a part of our character we know and others know also. Yes, I know I have this flaw. You have to take me as I am. It's very hard to work on this one. That's part three. So part one, I know others don't know about me. Part two, they know about me. I haven't even realized it. Part three, we both know. And part four, I don't know, they don't even know about me. If you are alert and vigilant, you will figure out these three parts of your character. What was question one? Something I need to change, means something I know. What was question two? The way my enemies see me, something they know and I don't know. What was question three? Something I do to them that they don't like, I won't like if they do back to me. Means the third part, we both know about each other. If I practice, if I look at these three and I make my sadhana to address these three areas, what is the purpose of sadhana? Sadhana is meant to transform the sadhaka to sadhya. Spiritual practice sadhana is meant to transform the sadhaka, the seeker, into sadhya, into the goal. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are the sadhanas that will work on sadhya. The sadhanas that will work on the sadhaka. If I can address these three flaws in my character well. And this is where real sadhana is. Real sadhana is not I did 10 malas of japa. Real sadhana is I have a flaw in my character that I am willing to work on. That is much harder than doing 10 malas of japa. That is real sadhana. Alert and vigilant living that transforms my character. And if I transform my character, I'll be able to transform others that are under my care. Sadhanas 1, 2, and 3 are for that transformation. Sadhana 4 will evolve on the purity that those bring. Then I will be able to discover that fourth part of my character, the part that they don't know and even I don't know. That Atma within will begin to shine. So I've given you four Chaturthi, 4 sadhanas, Chaturtha sadhanas. I've given you sadhana Chatushtaya today. If you practice this sadhana Chatushtaya, you will get real sadhana Chatushtaya. Shankaracharyaji's definition of sadhana Chatushtaya. Yes? So, when we are able to execute these three, then we can tap into the fourth. When we can tap into that fourth, we become like our Puja Gurudev, where his grace and blessing begins to flow through us. How? As we perform our seva to our little ones in Bala Vihar. Through that, our service to them becomes our service to the Lord of Lords. So are we clear on what we need to do? We know our responsibilities, yes? May He imbue us with the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat. Hari Om. Ram uncle.
Beautiful session. It was amazing. Thank you so much. This was very nice. So there are couple of questions. Please, everyone, if you have any questions, please, either put it on chat here or on the Google Sheet. The first question is, would having spiritual milestones make sadhana too result-oriented?
So this is This is why I like sadhakas to ask the questions themselves. When they ask, you can automatically begin to see the mindset behind it, because there can be two mindsets behind such a question. One is genuinely they're worried about making sadhana too rigorous. The second is escapism. So that's why you need to feel the tone of the question from the mouth of the person itself. But I'll answer it both ways. So, see, the human mind is such that it needs structure. It has to have structure. We have seen the success of this method. This is why gurukulas have been implemented since time immemorial, and why even our English or British or American systems have all adapted a gurukul system, which is what college is, right? Which is what school is. The mind responds to structure. And so we have to structure our sadhanas. If we make it too unstructured, we won't evolve as fast as we can. See, you can learn a profession through YouTube videos and through watching things, right? But how much longer will it take than if you sat in a classroom and you studied that thing well? So use structure initially. Our Puja Gurudev used to say, use the thorn to remove the thorn, and then throw both. So the answer is yes, make your sadhana structured at first. As the purity of your mind grows, you will know how much wiggle room you have to unstructure your sadhana. And just let the beauty of it manifest. But as you do these first three sadhanas well and that purity comes, that liberty will reveal itself to you also. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Next question. My question is, there are days when my mind, body, and soul are so in a dilemma that I know I need to sit to do the sadhana, but physically I cannot go and sit in front of the deity. Is there any way to break that fog and get me into sadhana mode?
So, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about the three gunas, right? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And he talks specifically about how Tamas needs to be conquered by Rajas and Rajas must be conquered by Sattva. If your mind is in a tamasic state, now sometimes we have to be able to assess this properly, because we say, no, my mind is Rajasic, it's here, there, it's everywhere. Extreme Rajas is Tamas. Rajas is Rajas on its own. If your mind becomes so Rajasic, it is absolutely uncontrollable, that is Tamas, that's not Rajas. And so then you need to know which sadhana to apply properly. A Rajasic mind is one you can pull and get it into Sattva to sit in that prayer room. But if your mind is in such a state of turmoil, don't fool yourself, it's not in Rajas, it's actually in Tamas. Which means you can't use Sattva because it's not Rajasic. You need to use Rajas because it's Tamasic. And so what you need to do is get your mind from a tamasic state to a rajasic state first, then to a sattvic state if you want to sit in that puja room. So if your mind is too turbulent, do not go and sit in the puja room. You go on YouTube, you find Hanuman Chalisa with the most upbeat tune you can find, and you push that mind from tamas into rajas, and you jump and dance and sing and enjoy your Hanuman Chalisa. After that, the turbulence of it will mesh into the turbulence of that upbeat Hanuman Chalisa. Then it will start to feel sattvic singing Hanuman Chalisa. Then it will quiet down and you can sit in your puja room. But know which guna your mind is in. Otherwise, you won't be able to conquer it efficiently.
Very nice. There are 2-3 people who have asked if you can explain the fourth step one more time.
So, the first one is there's a part of me I know and others don't know. Easy. There's a part of me others know and I don't know. So that's the one I need to pay attention to. There's a part others know and I know, and I need to work on that. Fourth, there's a part of me that I don't know and others don't know also. That fourth part of our character is the seat of all of our hidden vasanas, as well as the seat of Atma. There's only two things within us that we're unaware of, and that is at the causal level and beyond. Causal level is vasanas, beyond Atma. So, what happens is as I do my sadhanas on the things that I am aware of, I become more and more purified, my mind becomes more and more quiet. And so what happens is those unexpressed vasanas, which are in the fourth, area, they get less and less chance to express and manifest out because the mind itself has become quieter and quieter. Vasanas must express through mind, right? Causal must express through subtle. And so, by working on the subtle and gross aspects of me, I can quieten that causal ignorance. The next step after that, when I can conquer that ignorance, is pure knowledge consciousness, where I can start to connect to that Brahmatva inside of me. That is the fourth aspect of our character. So this is how these sadhanas can lead to that one. I hope that answered the question.
Believe so, yes. All right, I think we are on time and I don't see any other question. So Jyotiji, thank you so much. This was an amazing session. We'll request you to do the closing prayers.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Jyoti.
Hari Om.
Thank you so much.
Hari Om, Satya uncle. Hari Om, Satya
Hari
Om.
Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Jyoti.
Hari Om. Now I don't know who is saying Hari Om. Too many voices.
Hari
Hari Om. I
Hari
see
Om
lots
Jyoti.
from Washington here. Hari Om. Hari Om, Harsha Didi.
Hari Om Jyoti.
Hari Om, Mama.
Hari Om Jyoti ji.
Hari Om, Ma. How are you?
Good.
Hari Om Jyoti ji.
Hari Om, Ma.
You were coming down from the stone mountain and we are going up and we met you in the middle of the way. You remember?
Right. Yes, yes. I met you on Uncle. Good to see
With
you.
the Deepa.
Yeah, Deepa Mato, she reminded me after also that I had met you all.
Srila, yeah.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, everyone. We'll end the call.